r/Nosleep. Posted by Reddit user Naito-desu. My long-distance girlfriend wanted to video call me, and I think I may have accepted my death. Part 2. So, update. I'm completely fine, but shaken from the entire thing, and still a bit sick. As soon as I saw those eyes staring into my room, I immediately couldn't sleep, knowing whatever thing was out there was trying to get in. I sat staring at the window, the maddening tapping still going on as I tried to make sense of what was happening. Not that I had much of a chance to contemplate that when I heard a knock at my door, the same monotonous rhythm as the tapping on my window. Something was clearly pulling out all the stops to try and get to me. But even when I had locked it, the door seemed to be unlocking on its own, and the second latch on top was magically coming loose. I was not waiting for that door to open. I gulped as I looked at some of my spare Japanese paper. I barricaded my door with my table and got to work on another ofuda, my hands shaking. I barely come up with one as I saw the door begin to open. I sprinkled salt on it and said a short prayer, this time to Buddha, because I was going to take any help I was going to get at this point. And then, I hurriedly hung it on the doorknob, just in time, since I saw a few gray fingers creep in past the small gap of the door. I wasn't sure it was doing anything, but the fact that I heard an unearthly screech from the other side, and heard the knocking transform into a hard pounding on the door, meant I either probably successfully protected myself, or did something to piss it off. Maybe both. I stayed in dead center as the cacophony of thuds and taps kept my heart pounding. For the first time, I had no idea what to do. I thought of contacting Misaki again, but my laptop refused to connect. I jumped into bed and under the covers and cowered, enduring the noises. I peeked out to see my ofuda about halfway into becoming black. I looked at the clock. It was only 2 a.m. I had 4 hours until sunrise. I had to survive this. But hearing this, while incredibly tired and sick, was maddening. I wasn't sure if the thing was intentionally doing this, but every now and then, it would go quiet. And when I would start to doze off, the pounding would continue, and I'd get rudely awakened. I looked at my ofuda, which was almost completely consumed in blackness. It was 5 a.m., and I saw the orange in the horizon. The things outside screeched loudly, as the nightmare was almost over. The ofuda had been used up, and the monsters had free reign of entering. Not that it mattered, however, as dawn arrived, and whatever preyed on me had left me alone, sleep-deprived and exhausted. I collapsed onto my bed, sleeping for nearly the entire morning, until I was rudely awakened by a ringtone. I growl as I get off the bed, to see that it was Misaki calling me. I quickly answered it. "Lawrence, are you okay?" Misaki called as I sighed and replied, "Yeah, I am. And you need to explain what the hell just happened." "Yes. I'm sorry. Video chat with me. I'll say everything," Misaki replied, knowing she had a lot to tell me. I booted up my laptop, and though I'm still sick and sleepy, I listened as intently as I could to hear the story. After about an hour or so of explaining, I think I got the gist of what was happening. Misaki's family suffers from a curse that their daughters will never find a husband. It was an old family tale of a father who murdered his daughter, named Ayaka, for attempting to elope with a lover he did not approve of. With her dying breath, Ayaka cursed the family, such that their vengeful spirits will come and claim the lives of anyone who would court the daughters of the family, lest they be willing to make a great sacrifice to save them. Of course, this was all very hard to believe, but considering what I had been through, it was the least of my problems. Why didn't she tell me? She does realize that she put my life on the line for being romantically involved with her? A flurry of questions raced through my mind as I felt dread and anger of the situation. I had been tempted to bring it all out on her, but I tried my best to keep calm and let her explain things first. "Why didn't you tell me this?" I asked Misaki, who was sniffling and sobbing from the other side. "I was selfish. When you proposed that we be more than friends, I thought of telling you, but I also wanted to know what it felt like to have someone care for me as much as you did." Misaki choked up as I could tell that the guilt of condemning me to this fate was overwhelming her. "I never believed the curse until I received the fortune yesterday that you would die tonight. So I did what I could to help ward the spirits, but I've been only delaying the inevitable." I let her cry it all out, as I still felt betrayed and angered by what she'd done. At this point, any wise boyfriend would have cut ties and hopefully escape from the spirit's wrath. I was so angry at this, at being lied to, and her withholding the fact that I was going to die merely because I wanted to be more involved in her life. But for all the irritation and fear I felt, I couldn't muster up the anger against her. Despite the desperation I felt, compassion ruled in my heart. I didn't know what it was like to have to condemn someone I love to be taken by a vengeful spirit, or be forced to become lonely for most of my life out of fear of whatever I loved would die. Regardless, I still resented being lied to as I adjusted myself in my seat. "I have to go," I said abruptly. I didn't hate her, nor did I resent her, but I didn't want to see her at the moment. "No, wait!" Misaki clutched the screen from the other side, knowing full well what I was going to do. "Don't leave." "I'm sorry, Misaki, but I need some time alone," I said, before exploding into a fit of coughs. "See you." Look, the video got cut off. I didn't even feel like eating. Not that it mattered anyway. Any more attempts to ward off this curse would just end with more stressful, sleepless nights and endless noises. If I was going on my own terms. I wait until night and take down all the holy symbols from the openings. I open the windows to give whatever was coming an easy entrance. I would be sitting right in front of it to accept my timely death. In that span of time, I received endless calls and texts from Misaki, who said in a flurry of things from "I'm sorry" to "I can fix this." I didn't want to listen to her now. She brought this upon me, and I was going to take it as graciously as I could. Before midnight approached, I sent a goodbye text to all my loved ones, vague enough that it could be interpreted as a goodnight text, but can suffice as my last words as well. As I scrolled through my messages, I hit Misaki, who I didn't even think about texting during the span of the time. I still felt hurt and betrayed from before, but it felt wrong not to send her one, especially when I still felt something for her. So I decided to make a voicemail just for her. "Misaki, you lied to me and condemned me to death. I should be furious, yet I can't find it in me to be angry at you. It's funny how love works. Well, one positive thing I could get out of this is the fact that if this ghost is really after me, then that means you did love me. And even if you lied to me and had been acting selfish this whole time, it still makes me happy to know that it was true. I end the voicemail and send it. If I was going to wake up tomorrow, I'd probably think it was cringy as shit, but may as well do things without regret before I die. I wait until midnight, sitting in front of the window in deep, contemplative silence. As soon as the clock struck 12, I could see a hand crawling in through the window, and then the head of a lady and her entire grossly disfigured body come into my room. I was shaking in my seat, shivering in fear as I wondered, in my last moments, what this thing was going to do to me. Instead, however, she extends a hand and opens it, showing a glowing blue flower that extended from her hand. It looked a bit like forget-me-nots. I raised my shaking hand and took the flower from the disfigured spirit, who simply whispered, "Someone holds much love for you," the spirit announced in a raspy voice before crawling backwards and disappearing into the night. As I sat there, dumbfounded at what happened, and wondered what it exactly meant for me, and for Misaki.